Alright.
Hey, this is Chris from Deus Ex Machina, and I am with
Dave from Rampant Wolf Games.
And we are talking about small deck card games, and I'm trying to realize how inappropriate this could be if you word it now correctly. This is small deck. It's all about the small decks. Not big decks.
You know how they pronounce it in Australia?
Yeah.
Deek.
Deek. Yeah. These are...
We're having a beer out on Deek.
So this is for games with small decks. Really. I mean, it's not about your decks. It's how you play them. No, seriously. So it's any game that's like, I would say, less than 60 cards? Less than 50?
Yeah.
Wrapping Rock. Now, that's how we're talking about now. The winner's coming back. My number 5 pick for small deck card games is a game called Lost Cities. It's a very popular game. It's actually very, very popular. A lot of people talk about how popular Lost Cities is. It's famous. They've literally, I think, the package says the famous game, Lost Cities. It's a bunch. It's a two-player game that deals with people laying down colored cards in increasing numerical order, and you try to get your deck each of your columns as high as possible, because you have to then minus like a X number of points off of the total of all those cards, and then you get to score the difference. The number of times you started the deck and then screwed up, because unfortunately you have to do them in sequential order. So you're like, oh, it's up to 10, and turns out, oh, unfortunately, I actually lost points in this one because I couldn't get this tower of cards long enough. It's neat. I hate the fact that I keep on losing this game to my fiance. It's one of like the 2 games she's good at. But that is number 5, Lost Cities, which not thematic. It's a bunch of numbers. You could play with a regular 52 deck of playing cards, really. No, it's not. Yeah, really. I mean, no, you can. I can't remember I think it's like 5 colors or 4 colors. But yeah, small deck game, Lost Cities.
All right. My small deck game, because we didn't say it couldn't have other stuff in it, is Mint Delivery.
How many cards?
I'm not sure, but it doesn't have more than 50.
There we go. And that's a tiny game.
Yeah. It's right over there.
Yeah. Nope, we didn't say it couldn't have any other components.
So yes. So that's Mint Delivery. It's basically a pick up and deliver game the size of a mint tin.
You like those?
They're good for going traveling and stuff like that because it doesn't take up much room in the pack.
Yep.
Yeah, so.
That's Mint Delivery.
Mint Delivery.
My number 4 pick also doesn't have a lot of cards. It's called The Grizzled.
Yes.
The Grizzled is a cooperative military game. Real dark subject matter. Real dark story behind the game itself. Doesn't have a lot of cards. I think it's like 45. It's a very small box. Okay, you get a lot more cards if you get At Your Orders, which is the expansion. But the basic game, I would also say that the basic game, you can play it easier, but the default game is really hard because you can't communicate with anybody. So it's really tricky and hard because it's a cooperative game and you want to win, but the game will tell you certain things that you have to do and certain ways you have to act, which will make it more difficult for you to win. So yeah, that's it's a good game. It's really got a unique art style, but that is number 4, The Grizzled.
All right, coming in at number 4, and they're going to start to see a theme form for games with less than 50 cards is Mint Works. So
this is going to be identical to our tiny games.
Pretty much, almost, yes.
Because I made a point of trying to make things a little different.
Couldn't help it. Like I said, I didn't have many. That's why I said this was a bad list. But anyways, moving right along. Basically, this one is basically SimCity meets Small Mint Tin. You're basically building city works, you're getting money off of it, and you're building a little economic engine, and whoever builds the best one wins. That's it. Over to you.
Number 3?
Number 3.
My number 3 is Harbor. Harbor is a game it seems like it should be in the same universe with the Tiny Epic. Because it plays on similar ideas of following and a whole bunch of other rules. It's a small box game, but it's made by Tasty Minstrel. Right? And Tasty Minstrel and Gameland, they seem to borrow ideas off of each other.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, this seems like there's like somebody puts out a game and then they come out with a game that's very similar. Harbor is a neat game. It has an economic model that's almost identical to what we see in Heroes of Lander and Sea. Only it's a very dominant mechanic of the game. It's very fun. I do believe there are only 36 or maybe 42 market cards. So it's a pretty small box game. Mm-hmm. It has some tokens, but that's about it. But yeah, it's a really fun game. It's one of the few economic games that my fiance really likes. That's my number 3 pick. Harbor.
So, aside, have you seen Ultra Tiny Epic Galaxies?
No.
It's on Kickstarter. It's Ultra Tiny Epic Galaxies.
Really?
The dice are cubes.
What in cubes?
Like they took cubes and printed faces on them.
Oh, so they're like they're tiny.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Did you see Tiny Forming Mars?
No.
It's a joke. It started off as a joke, and then it got on the hot list because people kept on talking about it. It was only available as a download done by some guy independently, but then people have been 3D printing components for it and like making it really way more expensive looking than it needs to be. Because Tiny Forming Mars is a 2-player game that's based off Terraforming Mars, and I think it only has 9 cards. It's literally they put Terraforming Mars into this box right here, and then people were making like big 3D stuff for it. On to me with 2.
Number 3 is Mint Tin Pirates. Small game. You're playing 2 pirate ships trying to kill each other. There's definitely some 52 cards there. Yeah. You can blow people off the ship.
How many Mint 10 games do you have?
I'm going to say 5 or 6.
So we're going to see some more. Gotcha.
Yeah.
See, with the exception of the Grizzle, I've not added any of these games on one of our lists before. So my number 2 is a game called Mystery of the Temples. Mystery of the Temples is a Japanese game. I can't remember what it's called. It's like something 7. There's a company that imports them into North America. They did a Kickstarter where all they were kickstarting was the translation, and they had already done the translation. So the game funded in April, and they delivered in July. It was the fastest turnaround. I was shocked how fast I got Mystery of the Temples. So it's really good when the game's already made and being sold in China, and they've already done the translation. So they were waiting for was the pre-orders, and once they did the pre-orders, they just like print and ship. They had the whole thing done and ready, and it was out the door. Mystery Temples is a fantastic little... You create a little board with cards, and then you're moving cards. You're generating jewels and combinations, and you have to create a combination of jewels in order to buy a point card. It is neat. It's a funny, fun game. One of the best portable games, because it's got a large... It's got a pretty good footprint, but it's not overly complicated footprint, and the box is up like that big. So that's Mystery of the Temples. I think it was like 36 cards. My number 1 is the only game that got less than 30. My number 1 game, I think, only has...
I think mine's still doing... Yep.
Yeah. So
coming in at number 2, Mint Tin Alien. Where you are basically...
We're going to do a top 5 Mint Tin game. I'm just going to step out.
In which point you're playing aliens trying to abduct different things from the Earth. People, livestock, doing mind control... And there is even a card called Multipass. Oh, yes. That is Mint Tin Alien.
You look at it, Multipass.
Multipass.
Multipass. All right, she knows. I would do a cut-in of Bruce Willis saying that line, except I'll probably get freaking copyright struck.
Number 1 card game with cards with less than 52 cards, full deck, whatever you want to call it, is Sprawlopolis. Wasn't on one of my lists before.
Hasn't it been? Isn't that kind of another Mint kind of game or tiny game?
No, it's a little card holding pack.
Oh no, you have mentioned this one. It's like it's a pocket-sized game because it's like really flat.
Oh yeah, it fits in like a business card holder thing. It's like
no, you have. I don't think it's been on the list, but you have definitely mentioned this game.
I have, because it is an amazing game. It's basically a city builder, but it fits in the size of a business card holder. It's like, all right.
How many cards is it?
I think it's like 46 or something.
Smallest deck you got, eh?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I just added the Beaches expansion.
So does it still fit in a card holder?
Yeah.
So, oh no, now I have. Now it takes take a regular standard deck of cards.
No, it still fits.
Yeah.
Yep. I can.
Small deck. I got you beat. My number 1 has less than 18 cards.
What's that?
It's Tides of Time.
Never heard of it.
Tides of Time is a 2-player card drafting game when you're both drafting cards to each other from a set, and you're trying to create a set collection in front of you, and then after you've done that, you're trying to score points on the combination that you have created, and then you do that a second time. Right, and you get to keep 1 card, and then you add your next set onto the new card, and you do that a second time, and then you add up your points and see who won. It's a very fast game. You play it in like less than 10 minutes. The cards have no right to be as big and as illustrated as they are, because Tides of Time, it's almost like a poker game, because there's like 5 symbols, and there's combinations, and each card has a slightly different features. Like you score for every other symbol and stuff like that, little point requirements. But the cards are almost tarot size. Like, they're gigantic. They're about 50% larger than a standard deck of cards.
Yeah.
And all the playable information occupies maybe 10% of that. The rest is the most lavishly painted, beautiful freaking illustration of this ancient city. Right? And it's just a beautiful illustration, but quite literally that illustration does nothing. It is simply there for picture. And I love that. I love they added that extra touch. They didn't need to put that extra touch in there. There is another variation of Tides of Time, a sequel or a follow-up, which is based in the Cthulhu setting that uses now Cthulhu locations, so it's a lot darker, and adds Magnus tokens. But the game is basically the same otherwise. I haven't played that one. I have played Tides of Time. That's my number 1 pick. Tides of Time.
Cool.
So my number 5 was Lost Cities. Number 4 was The Grizzle. Number 3 is Harbor. Number 2, Mystery of the Temples. And 1, Tides of Time.
My number 5 was Mint Delivery. Number 4, Mint Works. Number 3, Mint Tin Pirates. Number 2, Mint Tin Alien. And number 1, Mint Tin Sprawlopolis. Nope, just kidding. It's Sprawlopolis.
Mint Tin Sprawlopolis. All right.
I've been Chris.
I've been Dave. And remember, the rules are just a suggestion. Play the game the way you want to play it.
He almost got it.
I did get it. I did get it. I stumbled because I'm a person that stumbles. I can't do dialogue. At Halloween, I go, hi, trick or trout.